I trace my fingertips along the cool, smooth granite of my kitchen countertop, a choice I made after meticulously comparing a dozen samples. Sunlight floods in through the windows I cleaned twice today, casting warm, golden squares onto the new hardwood floors of my apartment. My personal triumph, with my name alone on the deed. The doorbell rings, sparking a wave of nervous anticipation. They've arrived. I smooth down my blouse and open the door, only to be met with my mother's discerning eyes as she surveys the entryway. "Emma, darling," she murmurs, air kissing near my cheek, her expensive perfume invading my space. She glances around, her eyes critical of the simple decor. "Couldn't you have hired an interior designer like Violet's?" she questions. "This place could use more character." Behind her, my father steps in, already buried in his phone. Traffic was awful. "Is there parking validation?" he asks. Violet, last to enter, with designer sunglasses atop her head and phone in hand, gives my apartment a quick look. "It's cute. Smaller than I expected," she comments. "It's 2 bedrooms," I respond, trying to keep my tone even, as I suppress the need to defend my choices. I led them on a guided tour of my space, showing off the elements I worked extra hours to afford. The south-facing windows offer natural light all day, and I managed a great deal on the upgraded appliances, I point out, pride evident in my voice. Dad nods absently, still engrossed in his emails. Violet interrupts. "Did you see my latest post? It got 5,000 likes." She shows her phone to our parents, and the Action Insight company wants to renew her influencer contract. My parents crowd around her, excited. "Show us." Mom exclaims, "Your social media is taking off." "That's my girl." Dad beams, suddenly attentive. Feeling sidelined, I lean against my carefully chosen kitchen backsplash. "I got promoted to senior manager last week," I mentioned during a brief pause. 3 years instead of the usual 7. "That's nice, dear," Mom responds, not even looking up as she discusses Violet's latest influencer deal. A memory hits me. I was 13, saving every dollar of my allowance for months, while Violet squandered hers on mall trips. When I finally bought the laptop I needed for school, I showed it to my parents, proud. "That's a lot of hard work," Dad had said, distractedly. That same night, Violet came home with new designer jeans Mom had bought her, just because. History repeats itself with different milestones. My full scholarship met with lukewarm reactions at dinner, overshadowed by Violet's minimal-effort graduation, which sparked a lavish party. "Anyone want coffee?" I ask, snapping back to the present. I offer the special blend from the local roaster, but no response comes. They've all moved to my small balcony, where Violet is taking selfies, positioning herself to capture the city view. "This would make such a cute background for my wellness series," she says, planning to edit out the undesirable elements. My parents nod, as if she's unveiled a hidden gem. After they leave early for another of Violet's engagements, I stand in the quiet of my apartment, the victory feeling somewhat hollow. Weeks later, I'm at the dealership, signing the paperwork for my new, not brand new, SUV, 4 years of savings while driving a car held together by hope and duct tape. "Congratulations, Miss Wilson. She's all yours," the salesman says, handing me the keys. Pride fills me as I caress the sleek, silver exterior. I earned this through countless early mornings and late nights. When my family comes over for Sunday dinner, I park the SUV prominently in the driveway. "Nice car," Dad comments briefly. "It's the mid-range model," I explain. "Good safety ratings, and I negotiated them down $4,100. Violet circles it, her face unimpressed. "Why work so hard when you could just—" But her words trail off, and I don't need to hear the rest. I know my achievements might never shine as brightly in their eyes as Violet's do, but they are mine, crafted from dedication and perseverance. I smile to myself, satisfied in my quiet triumphs, knowing the worth of every effort I've made. "I'll marry rich and have everything given to me," Violet jokes, making our parents laugh as if she's made a clever comment. "That's our Violet, always planning," Mom says, hugging her arm warmly. I stand by my car, gripping my keys tightly and forcing a smile. Like always, my achievements fade into the background of Violet's spotlight. I follow them inside, feeling the familiar weight of being seen as second best. What they don't realize is the determination growing within me. They don't know that one day, their pushing will go too far, and they'll see what I'm really capable of. In a tight dressing room, I watch Violet spin in her $31,000 wedding dress, the silk whispering like cash, diamonds sparkling at her neck. Perfect, Mom sighs, her eyes shining. Absolutely perfect. I adjust the bridesmaid dress they picked for me. Its color dulls my complexion, and the fit is nothing for my shape. The cost alone could cover my monthly mortgage. Lucas's family knows everyone, Violet says, admiring her reflection. This wedding will be in 5 magazines. Mom adjusts Violet's train for dramatic effect. Our daughter has made it, she declares. I catch Mom's eye in the mirror as she looks at me. This is what real success looks like, Emma, she says sweetly, though her eyes are sharp. Not everyone gets the value of the right connections. I bite my tongue hard, tasting blood. Across the room, Lucas's mother and sister share a look of polite concern. They see what my parents won't acknowledge. When Violet's honeymoon photos from the Maldives flood my Instagram, I'm receiving my promotion email. Congratulations, Director of Marketing, it announces. I sip wine and update my investment spreadsheet with my new salary. The figures grow steadily. Unspectacular but solid. Driving to my parents for Sunday dinner, Violet's new sports car takes pride of place in the driveway. Inside, she's on the sofa, phone in hand. Just ordered an amazing Hermes bag, she says, not even looking up. Lucas got his bonus early. I place my homemade lasagna on the table. That's nice. I've just been promoted to director. I tell them. Dad looks up briefly. Good for you, kiddo. Violet, show us that bag you're getting. Years later, I got a call from Mom, crying. He left her, she sobs. Called her shallow and wasteful. Can you believe it, after all she did for him? She tells me Lucas packed up and said he couldn't handle her endless spending and that she never understood the value of money or commitment. She tried to justify her desires, but he just left. I look at my expense tracker. Years of careful planning in neat rows. The divorce cites irreconcilable differences and financial recklessness. His lawyer's going after the prenup hard. She's getting almost nothing, Mom says bitterly. Emma, where's she staying? I ask, though I already know. Here, of course, Mom replies as if it's obvious. We've kept her room just as she left it. She needs us now. As I open the email for the 3rd time, my hands shook. Congratulations, Emma Wilson. You're the winner of our European Dream Vacation Contest. Your entry with innovative marketing strategies has earned you a $20,000 all-expenses-paid trip across 7 European countries for 3 weeks. I couldn't wait to share the news, so I called my parents, bubbling with excitement. Mom, Dad, you won't believe it. I won a European vacation worth $20,000. Before I could continue, my mom cut in, using that tone reserved for explaining complex matters to a child. Sweetie, you should consider giving the trip to Violet. She needs something positive right now. Stunned, I replied, the prize isn't transferable. It's a reward for my professional work. But your sister has been through so much with her divorce, my dad added. A trip could help her. It's a professional achievement award. It's not about who needs it more, I insisted, but my mom pressed on, saying I was being selfish. Feeling that old, familiar pressure to yield, something within me snapped. No, I said firmly. The other end of the phone went silent. When my mom finally spoke, her disappointment was palpable. My dad then expressed his disappointment too, asking what they had done to deserve such selfishness from me. When have you ever celebrated my successes like you do Violet's? I retorted. As the conversation escalated, Violet arrived, overhearing part of our discussion. She accused me of always having it easy. I've earned my way, just like I earned this trip, I countered calmly. We raised you to value family, my dad lamented. I do, but I also value myself, I replied. After hanging up, I stood in my kitchen, feeling a new sense of resolve. For the first time, I recognized someone strong in my reflection. I booked my flight that night. In Europe, I soaked in the Tuscan sun and explored ancient landscapes, feeling an unfamiliar sense of peace. There, nobody knew or cared about my perpetual runner-up status or family dynamics. I captured beautiful scenes, enjoying my solitude and the freedom from comparisons. Upon returning, I found my apartment altered with Violet's presence. She had moved in using a key given by our parents without my consent. When confronted, both she and our parents brushed off my concerns. As I stood in my own space, now invaded, I realized the trip had changed more than just my location. It had transformed my outlook. Here was to building a life truly my own. As I read the email for the third time, my hands started to shake with excitement. It's real. Congratulations, Emma Wilson. You've won our European Dream Vacation Contest. The email details a trip worth $20,000, covering 3 weeks in 7 European countries. Filled with joy, I call my parents, eager to share my incredible news. Mom, Dad, I won a $20,000 trip to Europe. Before I can finish, Mom cuts in with her, explaining to a child voice, Sweetie, you should give that trip to Violet. She needs it right now. Stunned, I hear Dad agree. Violet's had a tough time, Emma. She needs this more than you. It's not transferable. I respond quickly, though I haven't checked. It's an award for my work. You could figure something out, Mom presses. Violet needs it more. That familiar pressure to step aside lands on me, but something inside me pushes back this time. No, I say firmly. Excuse me? Mom sounds shocked. No, I repeat. I earned this. I'm going. Dad's voice gets stern. We're disappointed, Emma. After all, we've done. What exactly have you done? I blurt out. When have you ever celebrated my achievements like you do Violet's mere existence? Violet's voice suddenly cuts in, asking what's happening. Mom explains loudly. Emma won a trip and won't give it to Violet. Violet's indignant. Are you serious? You've always had it easy. I earned those things, I find myself saying calmly. Just like I earned this trip. We raised you to put family first, Dad says, disappointment heavy in his voice. I do care about family, I reply. But I also care about myself. I end the call, my resolve firming as I stand in my kitchen, feeling empowered for the first time. Weeks later, I returned from Europe to find my apartment altered. My stuff is moved around, family photos and books are displaced, and Violet's organic foods fill my cabinets. Panicking, I rush to check my car, but my parking spot is empty. I call my parents frantically. Where is my car? I demand. Calm down, Emma. Dad uses his patronizing tone. We sold it. Violet needed money. You sold my car? I'm incredulous. It was mine. It was just a car, Emma. Family comes first. Mom chimes in. It was my car. My name was on the title. I argue. We'll talk when you've calmed down, Dad says, ending the call. I return to my apartment, furious. Violet lounges on my couch, scrolling her phone. Where's the money for my car? I demand. I needed things, she says casually, not looking up. I notice a bank statement on the counter showing $31,000 withdrawal receipts from designer boutiques and a new spa membership in Violet's name. I confront my parents as they walk in unannounced. You're being dramatic, Dad dismisses me. You stole from me, I say, calm but seething. You sold property that wasn't yours. Mom sighs. Family shares everything. Why are you so selfish? The word selfish, always used to control me, no longer affects me. Get out, I say firmly. All of you. Violet feigns outrage. After everything we've done for you? You've done nothing but take. I cut off Dad's protests. Get out of my apartment. Leave the key. Mom tries to manipulate one last time. We're your family, Emma. Not anymore, I say, meeting her eyes unflinchingly. When the door closes, I lock it with a sense of finality and relief. I later meet with my attorney, Miss Sophie, handing over a folder of evidence. They stole my car without permission. It was registered in my name. She's impressed by my meticulous records. Most people don't bring this much evidence. I say nothing. My thorough preparations have always been my shield. She confirms, this is straightforward theft. I instruct her to document everything. The tremor that used to underline my words is gone. I'm no longer the overshadowed sister. I'm standing up for myself, ready to fight back. My hands were steady as I added another piece to my growing file of evidence. It included a printout of Violet's Instagram post from 5 days after they sold my car. In it, she was lounging at a luxury spa, the caption exclaiming, "Self-care is investing in yourself. Hashtag healing, hashtag treat yourself, hashtag deserving." Next to that, I placed screenshots of text messages from my father. "We did what was necessary for Violet. The car was just sitting there while you were traveling in Europe," he had written. My mother had chimed in, "Family shares everything. You've always been too selfish with your things." The evidence was clear, documenting not only the unauthorized sale of my car, but also years of financial manipulation, emergency funds diverted for Violet's extravagant birthday, and demands to use my apartment extending from weeks to months. I packed the folder carefully into my briefcase. Tomorrow, they would face the consequences. The sheriff arrived on time. I watched, arms crossed, as he knocked on my door. Violet, wearing my robe again, answered with a mix of annoyance and confusion. "Violet Wilson?" the sheriff asked. "Yes," she replied. "I'm serving you with an eviction notice. You have 76 hours to vacate these premises," he informed her. Violet's face was a mix of shock and anger as she read the document. She turned to me, fury in her eyes. "You wouldn't," she hissed. "I already have," I responded calmly. After the sheriff left, Violet confronted me. "You vindictive bitch. Mom and Dad they'll what? Sell another one of my things without permission? We're done with that." I cut her off. I picked up her designer purse from my coffee table and handed it to her. "You might want to start packing." 5 days later, I stood firm as Violet struggled with her overloaded suitcases. The sheriff, patient but firm, waited by the elevator. "Where am I supposed to go?" she demanded, her voice a blend of defiance and desperation. "That's not my problem," I replied, noticing the change in my voice. It was confident, unburdened. At the threshold, Violet paused, mascara streaking her face. "Mom and Dad will never forgive you for this." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," I stated. "I'm demanding respect." As she finally crossed the threshold, the sheriff escorted her to the elevator. I closed the door behind them, relishing the clean, untainted silence of my apartment. While the locksmith changed my locks, my father's voicemail played through the speaker. "You wouldn't sue your own family. We raised you, paid for your—" I stopped the recording, adding it to my evidence folder. The locksmith handed me the new keys, and the technician set up a security system that would alert my phone to any unauthorized entries. That night, I slept in my space, truly mine for the first time in weeks. The next meeting took place in the living room of the house I grew up in. My parents were visibly distressed, my mother clutching tissues, and my father angrily pacing. Beside me sat Miss Sophie, my attorney, her briefcase open and ready. "You have 2 options," I told them firmly. "Return $40,000 plus damages, or we go to court." "We don't have that kind of money," my mother sobbed, the tears that once could manipulate me now powerless. "This is extortion," my father exclaimed. "This is justice," Miss Sophie corrected him, her voice cool and professional. "Your parents, yes," I said, looking around the once familiar space. "But parents shouldn't steal from their children." "Where are we supposed to get $30,000? My father demanded. "Then you'll need to sell the house," I said, unmoved. "You have 30 days to make arrangements." My father's face paled. "Emma," he began, his voice softening to that old cajoling tone. "Sweetheart, let's work something out as a family." But I was done negotiating. We had already tried to handle things as a family. I shut my legal documents as we left the meeting, not looking back. The familiar weight on my shoulders felt lighter with each step I took. Was it really revenge when all I wanted was justice? This question followed me to the car, where I finally let myself smile a little. They never expected me to fight back, but they were about to learn what years of being overlooked and stolen from had built, a formidable opponent. I straightened my navy blazer and checked my reflection in the courthouse bathroom mirror. My hands were steady, a stark contrast to the shaking I experienced the day I found Violet in my apartment. The woman in the mirror now stood taller and more confident than she had just 2 months ago. Stepping out into the marble hallway of the courthouse, I heard the click of my heels echo against the stone. My lawyer was waiting, briefcase in hand. At the far end of the corridor, I saw them. My parents looking weary and Violet, detached, scrolling on her phone as if none of this really mattered. My mom rushed towards me, her perfume invading my space as she tried to embrace me. "Emma, sweetheart, we can still fix this as a family," she pleaded. "This isn't who we raised you to be," my dad added quietly, his voice full of worry about our family's reputation and my mother's health. For a moment, the old pressures tried to grip me, and I felt like I was 12 again, my achievements always overshadowed by Violet's needs. Violet pocketed her phone and snapped, "You're destroying our family over a stupid car." But the clarity in my mind was sharp. "This stopped being about the car the moment you felt entitled to take what wasn't yours," I replied calmly. "This is about 31 years of you taking without asking." We entered the courtroom. My lawyer began the presentation, displaying a text message from my dad on the screen. "We sold your car. Violet needed the money more." The casual confession of theft was stark against the white wall. As my lawyer clicked through evidence, bank statements showing the $31,000 withdrawal the day after they sold my car, Violet's social media posts flaunting her purchases, the judge's expression turned grave. I watched my parents squirm, their lawyers' weak attempts at explaining the situation as family misunderstandings crumbling under the solid wall of my evidence. When the judge spoke, his voice was clear and firm. "This is a clear case of unauthorized sale of property and financial exploitation," he stated, removing his glasses and looking directly at my parents. "The court finds in favor of the plaintiff." The room was heavy with the significance of his words. "The defendants are ordered to pay $40,000 for the value of the vehicle, plus $9,000 in damages and all legal fees." I heard my father's sharp breath. My mother whispered urgently to him, "We'll lose the house," loud enough for others to hear in the silent courtroom. As the judge continued, the reality of their situation settled around us, a stark reminder of the consequences of their actions. As I drive past my childhood home, I see the "for sale" sign swinging in the spring breeze. A moving truck is parked in the driveway, its doors open wide, ready to take away the remnants of my past. Through the open garage, I catch a glimpse of Violet carrying a box to her car, her face showing a strain of unfamiliar reality. For the first time, she's facing consequences that can't be ignored or shifted onto someone else. I don't stop, I don't even slow down. My new SUV, nicer than the one they sold from under me, carries me forward, away from their shrinking lives into a smaller, 2-bedroom apartment across town. The irony isn't lost on me. My once dismissed 2-bedroom apartment is now reflected in their downsized reality. Back in my apartment, the space feels different because I am different. The court judgment, an official recognition of my rights, lies on my countertop. I consider framing it as a trophy, but instead, I tuck it away in a drawer and softly close it. "This chapter is closed," I whisper to the empty room. I pick up my phone and scroll through my contacts. Mom, Dad, Violet. Names that once defined my worth are now just digital entries. I delete them, one by one, feeling the weight lift with each tap. I breathe deeply, not the shallow breaths of someone bracing for disappointment, but the full, lung-expanding breaths of someone facing a new beginning. Outside, the city pulses with life. Inside, the only sound is my steady, free breathing. I trace my fingers over the engraved nameplate on my office door. Director of Marketing, Emma Wilson. It feels cool and solid, just like the foundation I've built for myself. Years ago, I fought for recognition in a family that overlooked me. Now, executives seek my advice across conference tables. "Emma, do you have a minute?" Madison asks, peeking into my office with a troubled look about tomorrow's presentation. Come in, I gesture, helping her through her concerns. Afterward, I finalize the papers for my new beach house investment, a decision made after careful research and planning. Congratulations, Miss Wilson. It's rare to see someone your age making such sound investments, the realtor comments. I smile, knowing the depth of what each signature represents, not just financial acumen, but a hard-won freedom. That evening, laughter fills my apartment. Friends gather around my dining table, their wine glasses catching the warm light. They celebrate my successes genuinely, interested in my dreams without shifting focus. To Emma, Thomas toasts, who taught us all what real strength looks like. Their glasses clink against mine, and a genuine warmth spreads through me. Later, at my favorite restaurant, I'm enjoying my meal when I notice my family entering. They seem smaller, diminished. Violet sees me first, pausing before schooling her expression. Our eyes meet briefly, once a source of anxiety, now just a calm, detached observation, like watching strangers in a scene. The change in me is profound. I'm no longer the person they once knew, bound by their expectations and judgments. I am truly free. I relished each bite of my dinner across from them in the restaurant. Later, driving my new $55,000 SUV along the coastal road, the breeze played with my hair. This car was a significant improvement over what they had taken from me. On the dashboard, a framed photo from my solo trip to Europe showed me on a hill, arms wide, facing the sunshine. A reminder that some costs are justified for tranquility. Sarah, the newest and most talented member of my team, shared her troubles in a shaky voice. My parents expect me to keep funding my brother, even though he squanders it all on gambling. Family doesn't guarantee loyalty, I responded, reflecting on my past. Respect needs to be earned, even from those closest to us. Her eyes widened a bit at my candidness. Being self-sufficient is the greatest accomplishment, I added, and setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's crucial for survival. That night, I spread out brochures for solo trips to Greece, New Zealand, and Morocco on my coffee table. They called to me, a woman who no longer dreaded solitude. My growing investment portfolio and kitchen renovation plans, featuring the backsplash I'd always wanted, lay beside them. I then opened my journal, a practice I've kept since I started over, and wrote, "I will choose a family worthy of me." Each word was a step away from my old self, the one who sought validation from others. The apartment was silent, save for the scratching of my pen on paper. Yet this silence wasn't empty anymore. It was profoundly mine.